All right, good evening. Welcome to Wednesday night here on the Cannonball Chronicles. I want to thank all you guys for tuning in tonight, all our Chopper Town family, Cycle Source Network. Thanks for being here with us. We're just a couple minutes out from going live. 3 minutes on the clock. We're letting the social media audience build up a little bit, letting everybody get their bikes parked. Great show coming up tonight. You don't want to miss any of this. Make sure you're hitting the like and share button. Help us spread this thing around. Cannonball Chronicles going live every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Stick around. We'll be going live in just under 3 minutes. Looks like that clock's winding down to the last 30 seconds. It's time to pull this one out of the station and get started with our live show tonight, Cannonball Chronicles. Get ready, here we go.
Hey there, Cannonball Nation. It's Jason Sims coming to you from my garage here in Utah. We are here for episode number 4 of Cannonball Chronicles. Look at that. Lots and lots of dirt. That means I've been busy in the garage working on machines. Today I just happened to be working on this 1928 Harley Davidson J model, which will actually be up for sale soon. It'll make somebody a great Cannonball bike. Busy week. Getting prepared for the motorcycle Cannonball. Again, this year we're going from Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan to South Padre Island, Texas for our 6th event. Going to be a great event, going coast to coast, border to border, and we got a really good event coming up. With that, let's bring in my co-host here, Mr. Rob Nussbaum. Retro Cycle. What's happening, Robbie?
Hey, how's it going, Jason? How you been?
Oh, man, just busy. Just been working here in the shop. Had a great last couple of days. My buddy Cole Deister came over, and we've been just wrenching on some old Harley junk. Well, not junk, but everybody else calls it junk. But
how's your phone holding up, Jason?
It's been blowing up lately. I mean, really been blowing up over Sturgis. What's happening there? What's happening with Motorcycle Cannonball? And you know, been blowing up.
Yeah. So your fingers are greasy. What have you been working on?
So I've been working on this 1928 JD back here. Just it's been sitting in a slumber for a few years. Just kind of wrenching and getting it dialed in to see get it back on the road here and make it a little bit reliable.
Tell us about some of those videos you posted this week.
Oh yeah. I've just had a blast on some old Harley iron. I had a 1926 that's been really kind of sat for a long time. We got that thing completely dialed in now, and it just left about 30 minutes ago to its home down in California.
Down in Southern California?
Down in Southern California. It's going to live in Hollywood, so
nice. So maybe it'll become a movie star.
Maybe we'll get to see it. So it's been real fun getting that thing dialed in, and that with another couple of machines. I mean, I think we worked on 3 or 4 or 5 actually different machines and running them around, and nothing brings a bigger smile to your face than getting on one of these things after they ain't started for 20 years and riding it around the parking lot for the first time.
Was there any beer involved in this mechanical journey you went through this week?
Actually, you know what? This time it wasn't. We were actually pretty tame. I couldn't believe it. We were just so focused, working late into the night of, on these things that, we just didn't even have no time for adult beverages.
Work. Makes Jason a dull boy.
I know.
No cigars, no nothing?
No, nothing. We were completely chill and relaxed and, no debauchery.
I had I don't know if I mentioned last week. I don't know if it was last week or this week. Everything's a blur. The Banks boys were up here. They picked up their 1912 engine. Seemed pretty happy about that. And we've been busy. We got 2 other JD engines running this week. So it's been busy on our front, and these are all Cannonball motors too. So
right. I just happened to see one on your Instagram the other day of I think a 1927 running on the test stand. That thing was pretty sweet.
And that belongs to another Cannonball rider. So there's another one going back on the road, which would be very cool. Very cool.
It's really exciting right now watching social media and all the riders just getting in their final preparations and final startups. Just literally 30 seconds ago, as my phone's been blowing up all day, another rider up in North Dakota sent me a text and said, "Hey, we're riding tomorrow," and that's been a year and a half coming. So pretty excited for him. Pretty excited to see some of these videos. I'll be probably sharing some of them on our social media for people to see. So
what's your phone blowing up with most for Cannonball? What kind of questions are you fielding these days? Anxiety.
Biggest question is, hey, is a Cannonball still happening? And obvious answer is absolutely. We're business as normal. We know some things are gonna change. Some things will be different, but change is good. Improvisation's good.
So it's 1929 inclusive. So it's 30 and earlier this year.
Actually, it's 1930 and earlier. So if you have a 30, you're out. If you have a 29, you're in.
I know that's a common question that you field about the Cannonball. I think you said earlier, Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan to South Padre Island in Texas.
Correct, yeah. And along the way, we're not going straight there. We're going to cut over to the East Coast and have a day at Myrtle Beach. So we'll get to see some East Coast ocean and sand there. So,
how many miles? Do you have the miles computed on this route yet?
Actually, I'll have that here in just a few weeks. Starting next Monday, we're doing our final course run of the whole entire thing. So our course master will go out from the start and do every single stop just as we would while we would, do it on the Cannonball. So it'll take him 17 days to do the next thing. So just this week, matter of fact, 2 days ago, we put all the actual cities online now on our website. So you can go to the website, see exactly every city that we'll be in overnight. We still have some more hosted stops to put up there where you can see us for lunch stops, nighttime stops, but at least everybody can see exactly what city we're going to be in now. So within that thing, you can actually see a lot of good information with the stops, such as Wheels Through Time. We'll give you some information on there, what times we'll be there, when we're going to Barbary Museum. So you'll know exactly what times, we'll be arriving there and what time we'll stay there. So
great stuff, so people can come and see us, which will be great.
Yeah, absolutely. We got such great information on the website. Anything you want to know about how to get in a race, how to sign up, what it takes as far as qualifications on the motorcycle. Another thing is you get to see who the riders are for this next year. So we have a list of all the rider bios on there. Really neat information to get to know these people ahead of time and follow their story. On there, you can actually see some of if they have a website or something like that or more information, we give you that too on there. So you can spend a couple hours on there just learning who's going to be on this year's ride. So
cool.
And some
cool
of the
stuff.
backstory, we really get a lot of good backstories on people and put them up there. So
we were talking about prep work. You said somebody called you and said the bike is ready, but our first guest tonight is famous for not being ready on time or just being ready on time. So
He's
you want to introduce our first guest tonight?
I do. So our first guest tonight hails from probably more Northern California, Santa Cruz area. He's one of only 3 people that have competed in all 5 Cannonballs so far. This will make his 6th. Every time he does a brand new bike, a brand new challenge, and at the last minute, he's wrenching in the parking lot 5 minutes before we leave. Tonight we have our first guest, Doug Feinsod. Hey, Doug, are you there?
And
he's there
Dan Kraft's
somewhere.
with me too.
And then we got a bunch of his other crew. I got Dan Kraft there.
Yes.
Hey, Dan. Hey, Doug. How's it going?
Hey, Dan. Hey, Doug.
We're down here in Doug's air-conditioned basement cellar with Jason was just here last week or something, came through here. So yep, it's good to be here.
It was a great little short visit. I wish I could have stayed a couple of days and got to see some more of what happens down there and got to dig through some parts that no one will ever get.
Well, Dan's still out here right now. Yes, I have the stuff here won't let go, but it's already in my truck.
Oh, dang. I tried to get a nut and bolt off Doug, and I couldn't even get a nut and bolt.
You gotta know where to go.
That's so typical Doug.
So
you're overreaching your grasp. Yeah, you got to start with the screw.
No, it was a great visit. I had a great time there and got to see some.
I thought the screw was what you get when you leave the shop, Doug. So if somebody was to ask you, tell me about Doug Feinsod, which is what we're going to do right now, how would you explain yourself to everybody? Doug, explain yourself.
Oh, shit. There you have it right there, that picture. It's a hood ornament. Well, I'm unemployed. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, where are you from, Doug?
I feel terrible. I mean, I'd like to think I'm normal, but I suppose I can't pass that off. He's smart. He's good with people. Got good values and he's unselfish to a fault.
That's true.
You didn't find that to be the case when you tried to get your bolt out of here. That's why anybody can get anything they want out of here.
So you currently live in Watsonville, California. I know you're transplanted from the East Coast. Tell us where you come from at the East Coast.
I grew up in New Hampshire. A little known fact, I'm actually a masshole. I was born on the Cape. Yeah, I spent my first half of my life in New Hampshire, and it's a wonderful state. As we learned last time we were on a Cannonball, that was the East Coast has got some of the nicest riding until you get all the way out here on the West Coast. But
absolutely. I mean, those roads back there, the Kankamangas, all them areas. I mean,
Great roads.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I probably almost died on that highway a few times.
We were late everywhere we went when we got there because he was showing us something else that we didn't quite have time for.
Did the perch freeze up? Oh, we're in trouble.
I remember that. I think you guys were the very last ones to show up for registration in 2018 in Portland, Maine.
So, Doug, how did you get into motorcycling? What drew you to that? Can you hear us, Doug? Jason,
it
I
looks
think we're
like
gonna have to wait.
Yeah, it looks like we're having just a little bit of technical difficulty. I know he's had a kind of a hard internet connection. What a better time than to bring in world famous official motorcycle Cannonball photographer, Mr. Michael Lichter. Hey, Michael, are you there? We screwed with
Yeah, anything I do is.
Oh, that's good. Oh yeah, we had a little bit of technical difficulty. We tricked you.
You did. We're now making a mess.
That was a stick save and a beauty, Michael.
Oh my God. That's what happens when you run with a beer in your hand.
What do you got?
All right, guys.
How you been?
Excellent. Great week. Super busy. All good.
Nice.
Great to be here. How are you guys doing? All set?
It's all good. What do you got for us tonight?
I got a picture of Bill Buckingham from 2014. And Bill was riding his 1936 Knucklehead Chopper, which I absolutely adored. And actually, more than that, I adored the whole story of this bike and this team. Now, I guess I have to say the name. They were christened Sticky Dicks. That was the name of the team. I more affectionately called them the Chopper Dudes. That's what I always called them, the Chopper Dudes across America. And this came out in my story. I actually did a story just on them as well as the whole Cannonball. And it came out in, I think, Cycle World or Hot Bike, something like that. And the Chopper Dude story was just a sub-story, but it was its own story. I think it was 6 or 8 pages. These guys were so refreshing. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. They kept what they were doing pretty much a secret. Nobody really knew about it. And it was Sean Duggan and Bill Buckingham, best friends for many years. And then they had another friend who's a tattoo artist, Craig Jackman, who out of LA. But he was riding a VLH, and it was a real hot rod with 2 carbs. And so it wasn't really a Chopper Dude, but he was part of the Team Sticky Dicks, which happened because they drove a camper out from California without air conditioning. 3 guys in a camper. That's what happened.
Well, they just bought that thing too, like
I guess
5 days before the event.
That's right. But it was so cool because they kept this secret. And then I thought it was so nice because you tend to get a lot of older guys that get very strict about point bikes and things like that. And these guys they had the biggest smiles on their face, and they rode across America and had so much fun doing it. It was awesome. And this photograph of Bill, I actually have a number of photographs that I really like of him. This one was taken outside of Grand Junction, Colorado. He was just coming out of the city, and you could see the mesa in the background, and he's right in between shadows. It's that late afternoon light, it's a great time to shoot on the Cannonball, although it's kind of harder because the people are so spread out. One of my challenges is we have up until now always gone east to west, which meant backlight all morning and then strong sunlight in their face all afternoon. But this was sort of this nice time where there was some shadows going under the trees, and to me, that orange helmet, it just makes it. There's that green and blue, and that spot of orange just makes it. Is so in the moment, and that's how he rode across America, just like that.
Mm-hmm. No, it was great. I was very, very fortunate in 2014 on this event when this picture was taken to actually get to ride a knucklehead at the same time. So, a lot of times our little group of knuckleheads got to hang out with the chopper dudes, and we were always the last to leave in the morning, and we'd pass everybody. Last to leave the gas stops, and then we pass everybody again, and we just had a lot of fun, and these guys, Sean and Bill, they were the epitome of fun this year, and just a great spirit, and what they did was unbelievable.
Well, that year, 36, where did we start that year? Can you remind me?
Daytona Beach to San Francisco, was it? Tacoma, Washington.
Oh, Tacoma. That's right. Mm-hmm. And so this is when we were going through Colorado. But the Knuckles being it went up through 36. So it was amazing to have these fast bikes on the Cannonball, because they just went and went. And I know you guys, I guess you were with Carl Olson and forget who, but I think you were about 4 or 5 guys, and you raced. I kept running into you, and you were always on the side of the road, relaxing, having a great time. And same with the chopper dudes. They just had so much fun. And really, that's what this is all about. A lot of people, of course, are taking it very seriously, but if you could relax enough the way they did, and they just had a blast, that was fun. Now, there is I might as well mention it at this point, but a very sad part of the story is that getting ready for the 2016 Cannonball, shortly before it was in August, that Bill was out on this bike in LA, and he got left turned, and he died in that accident. So he did not make the 2016 Cannonball. That was it in the end.
Oh, man.
But so I only got to know Bill through this trip. Actually, his daughter, Hannah, who was wonderful, she assisted me at Born Free the following year in 2015. But this bike also is built by Keski, who's a Japanese builder, and it actually won Born Free. So, it was like best of show.
That's
Born
right.
Free, and it was selected to go to Japan, all expenses paid for Bill and the bike to go to Japan. And what an honor. So it's really considered one of the best bikes in America. And then he gets on the thing and rides coast to coast, and he did every mile. Both Sean and him did every mile. So, what a great attitude. You're talking about such a valuable bike, being a 36 knuckle as well. Any thoughts on that, you guys?
Oh, yeah. I'm speechless of that whole thing. I just keep reminiscing about that whole entire trip. Of us on knuckleheads just bombing across America, having fun. Nothing better than that.
Hey, guys.
It's a whole different thing too. First of all, you got choppers in the Cannonball, which is kind of neat. Mm-hmm. And these guys they're riding a chopper, so and going coast to coast, which can't be all that comfortable. So it's pretty neat.
I was pretty big on the idea that with the AMCA, that they're so strict in so many ways that I couldn't understand why they don't embrace the younger generation that's building really cool hip bikes now, and they're so into
Michael,
old engines. They should be embracing them.
Listen, I got to tell you, I belong to the Cherokee chapter down in Texas. And it was so refreshing when I first met those guys, because there are young chopper guys all over that chapter. They are so welcoming. So it's definitely, a lot of the different chapters are coming along to this. It's definitely not a blanket statement anymore. If you're into old bikes, there's guys within the club that are going to hook up with you, and it's going to be a good experience. That mentality's come a long way.
I think that's wonderful. That's the way it needs to be, for sure. And Chris Callan, it's so nice to hear your voice. I know you always have thoughts from your art background. Any thoughts on the photograph?
You know, when you talked a minute ago about how it must not have been comfortable, like really, this was the purpose of a chopper. You know, like when you got a stretched out front end and you got those high pegs, man, and the kickback king queen seat, that was literally a highway motorcycle. You know, that was kind of where this came from. And anybody, like, I have a 49 Pan that I've been all over God's half hell acre, or God, hell's half acre. But it really isn't uncomfortable like people would think. I mean, you know, I'm not doing 1,000 miles in a day on it, but it's a blast. It's a blast because just like the Cannonball, on an old piece of iron, an old chopper, you lose yourself in the experience. You lose what time period you're in, and you know, you give into it completely. So that's what I see in this picture. It brings me into that moment.
What I like about this photograph is the stillness of the chopper, the stillness of the background, and the speed reference you get out of the trees and the closer background.
The blurred road as well.
Right. I mean, everything is so sharp, but yet your speed reference is still there, which is kind of neat.
Yeah. I always like when possible to have that sense of floating, because to me, it makes it the way you imagine it to be when you're riding. You know, you kind of wish those roads to be like glass and smooth, and the curves so easy and nice, like you're in water almost. And so I like to convey that. Also, it's not often that you see cars in my photos. And of course, there were cars all over, but I try to isolate the bikes because I think when we're out riding, we're in our own heads. You know, we're just totally absorbed in the environment, in the road, in the experience, and we don't think about anything else. And you don't see anything else. I mean, basically, it's all gone. You know, you see the road and where you're going, and that's it. So to me, I hope that gets conveyed in some of these photos.
Well, it certainly does. And the fact that you found him right in his light at that moment is kind of neat, you know?
Yeah. Well, you know, it's so neat that I do have a number of photos of Bill, and it's neat to me that in a sense he's memorialized in this way. And I have some photos where he's really laughing and that personality shows through, but I felt very close to him after just these couple of weeks on the road. He was in the film business. Basically, he ran a grip business where he had big trucks filled with Matthews stands and all the professional gear in Hollywood. And your truck arrives on a film set, they bring the truck in and they pay for whatever lights and stands they use. And that's what he did. And he had great experiences he would share with me, where he had been shooting out in Moab, Utah or something. And he'd been on that road and talking about how they did things. And it's always fascinating as a photographer, but sorely missed. I mean, he was really loved by the community. He had so many friends.
I see some
absolutely.
comments from people saying that they in the next Cannonball, each rider had a turn carrying their number. Jason, can you expound on that a little bit?
Yeah, so one of the things that we did to memorialize Bill is, one, we retired his number, so his number 40 will never be able to be used again. With that, I took his plates and every day gave it to a different rider, or the rider would pass it on to another rider. So he actually made every mile with us on 2016. If somebody broke down and they had the plate, they would give it to somebody else, just so he could make every mile with us.
Very
and
cool.
That goes back to the whole Cannonball family philosophy, right? I mean, everybody felt so close to him that I'm sure they were all clamoring to grab his number when they could.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it wasn't just the riders that were involved. It was, like Michael and Dave on their bike, they got to put the plate on their bike one day. And
we carried it. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we just wanted to make sure that people knew him, and people that didn't even know him. I mean, we even had newbies that didn't know him, got to carry the plates, across the country, just to kind of exuberate some of his enthusiasm that he had. And he loved Cannonball. I mean, he built one of the coolest bikes for 2016, and I'm sure if he was still around, he'd be riding this year. So.
Yep.
Hey guys, I want to break in for just 1 second. I apologize for this, but from social media, we're getting so many great comments tonight. One of them, speaking to that Cannonball family, the trials and tribulations are shared right here in our comment box. David Courier is in. Big day for number 64, gotten the 1911 running for the first time. So everybody, congratulations to him. But do me a favor and call out your number if you're in this year's event. Put up your story because we're trying to get to that stuff as much as we can to make you part of the show too.
And a lot of you know each other, so tell us what your first bike was too. Pop that in the comments down below.
Yeah, absolutely.
1971 Shovelhead.
Nice. Mike,
That I still own.
Wow.
Wow. Jason, what was your first bike?
Mine was a 1969 Honda Z50. And then I upgraded to XL80 just a few short weeks after that.
How many guys started on those Z50s?
Thousands.
Lots. Thousands.
Thousands.
So now I predate the Z50. I was on a Bonanza mini bike.
Whoa.
5-horse. Swing arm, jack shaft.
I'd have pegged you for a wooden hobby horse.
Well, you know me too well. That's why.
We see those riding around the grade school just drooling over them, wishing we can get on them.
Right.
So technically, my first bike was a Yamaha MX-80. Those were the days, buddy. Of course, me and every other kid on the block wanted the YZ, but the MX was pretty cool.
Right.
Well, I have to go back. So mine was actually a Honda 450. I had that for a year before I had the Harley.
There you go.
And I wish I had that bike still. I'd love that.
Was it the 454?
No, 452. It looked like an old British bike, and I've seen some now that are cafe'd out. Somebody up in Nova Scotia let me jump on one, and I had a smile, grin ear to ear, just riding the twisties outside of Cape Breton there, and oh my God, it was gorgeous.
Right.
Yeah, right. the old cam chain killer, the 450 Honda.
Yeah.
Hey, so Chris, are we back with Doug and those guys yet? Or
We do have Doug back.
All right. Well, then it's time for me to say goodbye.
All right, Michael. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you
so much for having me. And it's really been a pleasure doing this every week. And hopefully we'll be back with another photo next week.
Yeah. Can't wait to see what you come up with next.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. Take care.
Thanks.
Take care.
All right. Let's see if we can get back to the Santa Cruz boys, the Thor Losers. Are you guys there?
Yes. I have a little aside. I have a little aside. If you can imagine this, Bill got that 36 knuckle motor out of me.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
How was that possible?
Well, he was cool enough. They were cool.
He was nicer than you were when you couldn't get that bolt out of Doug.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you exactly what it was. There's a reason I get off from stuff, and it has to be the right reason. And the Cannonball is one of those right reasons. How do you say no when these dudes are going to run a couple of 36 choppers on the Cannonball?
Yeah, absolutely.
So actually, to answer the question properly is, if you've got the right reason and you're the right person, you can just about get anything from me.
Well, I didn't get to spend enough time with you then. I was going to tell you my plans in 2022. I'm going to run a JDH chopper. I just ain't got the JDH yet. I got the chopper. I just need the JDH.
Yeah, I got a bone motor on the shelf in there, a JDH motor.
I know. I've seen it.
John Zalay, can you see my shirt here? He got a 2-cam motor out of me like last couple years ago.
Oh, no kidding.
So it does happen.
Well, I'm going to keep visiting you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're setting the bar. His expectations.
So, Doug, what are you gonna ride? What are you riding this year, Doug?
This KJ behind us. It's a 29 KJ that I've had for. That's the first 4-cylinder I ever bought. I've had that bike for over 30 years, and
More of it there.
and I've never actually ridden it yet. It's my friend was restoring it for me. Took most of that 30 years. You know, we can't be in a hurry on anything. And of course it's not really running yet. So, but we're not in the parking lot of Sault Ste. Marie, Sault Ste. Marie either.
Do you have a goal when it'll be running and riding?
Yeah, no goals, no such goals. But yeah, my Santa Cruz team's kind of falling apart. We were all going to ride 4 cylinders. You know, Dan's got a 4. Todd just bought an Ace, a 28 Ace, and Brett Yeager's got a 4. He's out. Buck Andresen just bought a 401.
Isn't he?
He's says he's going to ride his 14 Harley, but I think he's going to ride that Ace.
Boy, there's a lot of difference between a 14 and an Ace.
Yeah, he's well, Robin will be riding with him. She'll be riding the bike half the time, and that's why he's going to run the 401.
Right.
So she can.
It'd be a smart choice. I mean,
Yeah,
you
So
can
Doug,
attest,
Yeah,
you can attest
Doug,
to
you're
last
famous
year.
for your you're famous for your prep work. Can you maybe Dan wants to expand on that, like how thorough Doug is in preparing for the Cannonball?
Well, actually, it's not for the lack of trying.
we have a lot of diversions going on in our lives. They just don't stop. Even straightening our stuff back to the starting line, just stuff follows us and happens. And
Yeah.
to us,
Doug,
it's part of the experience. It doesn't matter how you plan, stuff happens.
Well, trying to get parts for these things is difficult.
I have a memory of 2016.
Yeah. So I'll
Doug,
tell you what
I have a
happened.
memory of 2016 on the Thor.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, it wasn't only the Thor. I put in 3 bikes that year. The Thor, a 15 Harley, and a 12 twin belt drive Excelsior. So I'm not trying to pass the blame, but I ordered the crank pins for the Thors, for 5 Thors, and the Excelsior 2 years in advance. It took Mike Lang a year to tell me he couldn't make the crank pins. And then it took, and I'm just going to put these names out there.
You guys can
It took,
Uh-oh.
it took,
No, Doug, don't do that. Just tell about how you
11
arrived
months.
in New Jersey. Well,
took 11 months to get
from
those
Davenport to
crank
New
pins into my
Jersey.
hand.
Tell us that.
So 30 days before
This
the
is not-
Cannonball,
this is not the forum for
our.
that.
When you see that he's still a little bitter.
Well, so we had 30
Not Doug.
days-
Doug doesn't hold a
5
grudge.
No, not until you're dead. Not till I'm dead. So basically what we did was we put 5 Thors together and the Excelsior in the last 30 days. All of the Thors we ran, Dan's Thor, not Todd's. Todd's was an exception. There were 4 Thors we put together and the Excelsior in the last 30 days from the center of the motor up. So when we got to Rob's shop, we hadn't ridden on any of those 3 bikes yet. And yeah, it was a scramble. It was
And
a
that's
mad
how many
scramble.
days before?
Yes. Yeah, go ahead. I gotta take a quick break. Hold on. Keep
Okay.
talking.
All right. What do you want to know about backhammers, riding those? Are we on here?
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that was, actually, we all went down on them too, didn't we? I think we did. We all-
Crashed them?
Yeah, you did crossing that drainage ditch. And
Oh, yeah.
I did. Well, we crashed every year on
Yeah.
something, one thing
Well-
or another.
Well, you'll see in my pictures, an actual picture of Dan crashed with his head ripped open. Tell him a little something about that.
Oh, I don't, yeah, Doug says, hey, you got any picture? I said, you want this one? It was a selfie. I was I was speed testing the Thor. And when you're home like that, it's on a private road, so I didn't put a helmet on. I didn't put anything on. And I went down hard, real hard. And then that ripped up my face and my hand and some nerve damage. And so I don't even know how long that was before.
Can Heather throw that picture up there?
I think it was just, like 2 months before the Cannonball or something like that. It was a real short time.
Yeah. The bikes weren't the only part of that run that were broken. Some of our bodies were pretty busted up too. So
that's just one of the many challenges of the Cannonball. It's just not.
So check this picture out. To prove this is a real picture, look at the handlebar rubber skid on the road. So,
I've never seen this photo yet.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Kids want to see a picture of this. I was lightheaded anyway, so I laid back down and snapped that picture. I gave it to Doug. My wife won't even look at it.
That's pretty gnarly. But I did give you a good war story, and it gave you even cooler eye patch that you always wore. Do you still wear the eye patch?
I can't. I wounded this eye today. I busted the same eye up today surfing this morning. I got hit in the eye with a surfboard, so I've been nursing it all day. But here it is. This is.
Oh God!
I can like that. I've had my number on it too. So it's. I actually
badass.
made it out of a paint can.
Oh, really? It's got just a cool design on it too. I mean, just a killer piece.
Hey, Chris, do we have the video of that Doug gave us from the side of the road fixing the Thor?
Oh,
Which video is it?
yeah, it should be in there. It's this is on the highway somewhere in Iowa or something.
Is that in the cornfields?
No, it wasn't the cornfields. It was I was doing a roadside valve job. And,
how many? I remember your problems with all the valves in 2016 on the Thors. How many valve jobs do you think you actually really did?
Just a little bit stronger springs, we could get another 5 miles an hour out of them.
About 5 roadside.
About 5 per day, or 5 just on the whole Cannonball?
No, just for the total. John Zalay was doing a couple too. We were equipped.
I think I did 2. How many you had?
We didn't have time. We didn't have. Yeah, we didn't have time to prove those
hours. On the highway 33 in Iowa. We're doing a roadside valve job. This is how hard it is. We have to be able to. The losers have to be able to do a valve job right on the side of the highway. Fortunately, I got my man Don Dodson right here, who is happened to buy a spring at the hardware store a half hour ago, right here, which is going to save our bacon, because this spring croaked. It's putting us out of business. This bike's running like crap all day, but we got only 60 miles to do, and we're going to do it. So this is it.
Wow, that's great.
And
I mean, that's true Cannonball right there. I mean, that's just a little snippet of what you see almost every day out there.
I did.
That's your famous
I did have my
top hair right there.
I had my top secret support driver Don with me, and I made all the miles that Cannonball, but I came in really late sometimes.
Ask Doug if he's ridden that bike since he got home.
I did a couple times.
He took us to
We did Trog.
No, I didn't go to that. You went down there. Yeah, somebody else rode mine.
Yeah, Brett.
Yeah,
or somebody. So I forgot where we were there.
Valve job on the road.
Yeah, so I covered all
these
of the
guys
miles
from California, man. They can't stay focused, Jason.
Too much of the produce.
The first time I went on this, I was disappointed to find out there even was points, because we had all this stuff we wanted to do: swimming holes, talking to the restaurants, finding little cafes, meeting people. What? Somebody's counting points? We got to be there on time?
I couldn't find, Michael Lichter got a photograph, a nude photograph of us in the river. Dan and the four of us, Dan and Rob and Dave Mello.
Yep.
And I couldn't find that picture. That was
I got it somewhere.
Yeah.
Lichter's probably.
I remember that one.
sweet
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, that was in 2014. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I one night the night we came into Kelly Modlin's place, everybody raves about his steaks, but for me it was like steak bones because I was so late that there was no, all I could get was like a steak bone.
Well, you guys went to the wrong place.
But that was a different day. But
Hey, Doug.
One time, yes. Yes.
Cole Deister had mentioned something about an ice cream cone. I think somebody says you're famous for liking ice cream and finding. You came into the finish with an ice cream cone in one hand and gave him a high five with the other while I believe riding the Thor. Is that possible?
I was riding a hand shift panhead, drinking a coffee and eating a muffin. So that's I challenge you to beat that.
We rode last year. We took our 401s back to the Wabash Cannonball Bridge and rode that back and forth while Doug was riding hands free across those plank boards that were almost
I'd like to see some video of that.
Yeah, we that was,
we went back over and
Remember
had
the
the
watermelon
cross-country chase this year.
that bridge was one of the best things on the Cannonball ever.
It's going to be
Some
hard.
other stuff planned for this year. Some
Well,
more
so Doug is-
memorable roads.
Doug is also
I-
famous for impersonating Albert Einstein and famous for his hair. And I don't know if we have that shot. I guess that opening shot, Chris, with his hair probably says it all, but it's pretty wild sometimes.
That's not my favorite.
That's not his favorite. It looks like a hood ornament off an old Nash.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. I look like Ray Charles.
Do him a favor and lose that one. Put one of the other ones up there. Put one from the cornfield up there. That's better.
Yeah, I think that's Ray Charles. This bike here, this is the one Jordan Sherwood is going to ride.
Right, that's a
12
1912 Harley single, correct?
We got a lot of singles this time.
You gonna let her put a different seat on there?
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
we really do.
it's,
I mean,
Yeah. Portland.
Yeah. This.
There it is, Professor Feinsod.
I have a 9 Excelsior that I prepared, but I don't think I'm man enough to ride it. I got to put a woman on the bike to, get the job done. So, yeah, I'm not going to work that hard. This 15 Indian was the first Cannonball bike. That was a handful too. I blew that motor up about 3 times.
That the one you wiped the wheels out in the parking lot?
Yep.
Speed bumps?
Yeah. That.
How many Cannonballs have you been in, Doug?
Well, all of them except for Frank's got me beat because he's been in the great race. And I'm in 3rd place because Shinya's too cool. I can't outcool him, and Frank, I can't outlast him. So, I figure I'm in 3rd place. So I'm holding on. I'm holding on for dear life to get in 1st place, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen.
so how did you first hear about the motorcycle Cannonball?
Well, actually, I don't know how I heard about it, but Lonnie, I was probably the last person to get in. It took Lonnie like 90 days to decide he was going to let me in. I was probably, I barely got in. So, but it was the first Cannonball was so cool because no one knew what to expect, and that's what was good about it. That and the fact that the mag builders all got bad capacitors, and just about everybody's magneto went to hell. That was interesting. That first Cannonball was kind of fun.
Right. So I've always been curious of why you picked the Hedstrom Indian for the very first Cannonball.
Oh, that's easy. I didn't know any better. Yeah. No, I sold that bike. I wish I hadn't.
I mean, it was just like, it fits nothing in your collection, and so I've always been curious of why did Doug choose this bike? Was it a dare? Was it
that's funny.
I just don't get it.
No, the real reason is because I had it, and in that year I had to be 15 or older. So, I didn't really have much before that. It was, I had that bike for quite a while. I ran that bike for most of 20 years.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so it wasn't a particularly great bike, and by the time the Cannonball was over, it was wasted.
Well, we all know what kind of problems and headaches Hedgestroms can, muster up.
One of the problems. Well, I dropped. I got
a question.
I dropped the first valve
for you guys. Go ahead,
Yes.
Doug. Finish.
Oh, I was just going to say, I dropped the first valve in the parking lot of Kitty Hawk, and that was the start of the first Cannonball. And I seized it once in the South, and in the Midwest, in Albuquerque, I dropped another valve and it broke the head into 3 pieces. So one of the other Hedstroms was broken down, so I got to borrow that guy's head. I got the bike running about 10 o'clock at night. We're in this big parking lot in Albuquerque, and I'm flying across this parking lot, and who knew they'd put a 7-inch curb right in the middle of the parking lot. So I ran up over the bike and it bent the Jesus out of everything. So I go over to Dale Watchler's trailer so I have a torch and a hammer. 3 hours later, the bike's running again. Now it's like the Shriner's bike. So I rode the last out. It was like, it was like lumpy and wobbly. It was a circus, but
Did that bike make it?
yeah, I didn't cover all the miles, but the last 1/3 of the race, I got a perfect score. I've always managed to come in the points. I've never been a did not finish. So
you've always crossed the
that's
finish line.
Yeah, in the points.
Yeah.
I've always.
Hey
been
guys,
in the points.
I think we got to break for a minute here for our sponsors. We're a little late on that, so we got to break for our sponsors. We'll come back and talk for about 10-15 minutes more, and then we'll take it out from there. But Chris, I think we have some bills to pay here, right?
Needless to say, we've been going through some challenging times. Between the power sports market overall and COVID-19, this is an important time for us to work together to build a stronger power sports industry and to support our dealers across the country. In the spirit of Together We Rise, we're happy to announce a partnership between the AIM Expo and Tucker Power Sports. This partnership supports our industry's most important show and improves the experience of the dealers who attend. The show in January 2021 will now certainly be the top of every Tucker supplier's list and a must-see for every Tucker dealer. We hope our new relationship creates a stronger AIM show and a great experience for every attendee. Here's a look at what's ahead, and we look forward to seeing you in January 2021 in Columbus, Ohio.
Hey, this is Chris from Cycle Source Magazine, and I want to thank you for watching the flagship show of the Source Media Group, Shop Talk. We go live with Shop Talk every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but it's only one of the many programs we offer from Source Media. In addition to that, Wednesday nights we have Cannonball Chronicles that looks into the life and times of Cannonball racers as they prepare for this year's Motorcycle Cannonball. Thursday night we have Bike Night Live that dives into the culture of bike night, the food, the bikes, and the fun of hanging out with friends, and we even have some live entertainment. Sunday morning, Cyber Swap kicks off, where we have a sort of home shopping network approach to motorcycle swap meets, and we bring guys on that have parts to sell live right there. All of this in addition to our staple programs, which are Grease and Gears TV, live on the street from the events and rallies, Grease and Gears Garage, and Grease and Gears Garage Roadshow. We look forward to bringing more of this type of programming to you from the home of Two Wheel Entertainment, the Source Media Group.
But it's pretty much done.
And we're back.
Back with our good guests tonight.
Oh yeah, what a great show tonight. Pleasure having
Yeah, I don't know about that.
on.
Time will tell.
So
Yeah,
while we're
I'm
on a
not
little
making
break, I was
claims.
just reading some comments here on Facebook and YouTube. Got a lot of great people chiming in. So we want to talk about Doug's second hobby. Doug, tell us what's your world known for?
Oh, my wine, I hope.
Oh yeah.
I'm the real winemaker in the
You mean Doug
motorcycle
Winesod?
Cannonball. Yes. I don't want to brag too much about that, but I'll run my wine up against anybody in the Cannonball.
Let me brag about it. Let me
Yeah,
brag
I've been
about
with
it.
him.
It's awesome. Doug's wine is awesome.
Yes.
It is.
And
Well,
Dean will be with us
I'll-
next
I'll
week
tell
to
you how-
rebut that. So
I'll tell you how good it is. When Leanne has some, it just drives her batshit. Right?
And that's actually a
Is that
true
true?
story. It is. So unfortunately, it puts her in a different
Hey, have you
altered
ever-
state.
If you ever go into a restaurant with him and the sommelier comes over and starts trying to smooze you with what wine you ought to have, and he starts asking questions, and in no time at all, they're rendered helpless because he traps them in their own words, and little did they know. So it's almost, I'm looking for a way to get away from the table because this poor person's just helpless there, trying to explain something they don't know anything about to Doug, who knows the answers before they even open their mouth. So,
there's
yeah,
a
wine's really
diner
good.
waitress in New Jersey waiting for you to come back, Doug. Doug
Oh.
was mercilessly abused by a waitress
That's my,
in a diner in New Jersey.
That's my next wife. Sorry, Janine.
He got the full
That's my
Jersey
next
diner
ex-wife.
waitress treatment. So
And she was brutal. You'd have to be there. She was brutal on me. She wanted to.
but she always asks for you. She always asks for you.
Yeah.
How's Einstein doing? She asks me.
Hey guys, I was kind of quiet over
Yeah.
here for a minute because Michael Lichter was feverishly trying to get me this image, and I'm going to bring it up now so you guys can talk about it.
Oh,
There
am
it
I
is.
nervous? I'm nervous. Michael Lichter, thank you very much. That
Did
was
he go back and uncover this?
yeah.
There's a bridge. Yeah, I remember that.
That was pretty impressive for him to dig that out of his 10 zillion pictures.
Yeah, that's good.
That's as
You
far
remember that river?
that's as
The
far
name
as
of
he'll
it?
let me
No.
zoom in on
That
it.
was
He
in- I think it was
right away he
Cannonball
said, "Hey,
River.
this is the frame and that's it."
It must have been a cold
Here
stream.
we are.
And not too deep,
Wow.
I guess,
So-
right?
Hey, he got more pictures than that. Lichter's being kind because he got pictures of us getting from the log where we undressed into the water.
Oh, that's too funny.
For sure is no one wants
That
to
is
see a
too
naked old
funny.
man.
We knew we were pretty safe.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, that year was such a fun year. I mean, with you guys on those and the chopper guys and us knuckleheads. I mean, 14's a hard year to top with just all the fun that was had.
Hey, Doug
Didn't the
and
mechanic
Dan, can I
Yes.
ask? I wanted to ask you a question before. What got you guys into antique motorcycles?
Oh. Yeah,
Wow.
Dan's first.
I had started, you guys have talked about your first bikes. I think we made our first bikes, took the lawnmower engines off of my dad's
Right.
lawnmower rototiller and put it on a bicycle frame, and then whizzers and a couple of Cushmans. And then somebody told me that, hey, at the, what were you president of? What's your club? Rotary. We just had an interesting talk, and I said, no kidding, that's fascinating. So then he introduced me to Doug, and that started this. And then I've been on 3 of them with him, just fascinated with them. And I like the challenge, the problem solving, the people. I love the people and meeting them and watching them work together. And friction is the greatest enemy to these things. You know that. And it also is the greatest enemy to human relationships too. So it's fascinating, and there is a parallel there, and how to overcome that and survive, problem solve. It's enjoyable. It's fascinating. I enjoyed it.
And
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, my first, I started on 4 wheels. I made a wooden go-kart.
Me too.
With it had a 4 horsepower Kohler motor that was direct drive. You had to push it, and it probably did close to 30 miles an hour. And I actually started in Japanese bikes and British bikes. I'm surprised I made it past 18 years old. Speaking about the Kangamangas Highway, Rob, or Jason, I remember, because during foliage season, the Kangamangas is about bumper to bumper traffic with tourists. Well, the friends I used to ride with, I remember one time I bought a Norton brand new in 1974. I remember riding the Kangamangas with my friends. They all had like Japanese 2-strokes, like 750 Kawasaki's and 500s and that stuff. We rode the Kangamangas on the yellow line the whole way, right down the yellow line.
The Kank, baby. That's my ride in New Hampshire.
Full speed.
I love the Kank.
I just can't believe I even made it past 18 years old with that Norton.
Hey guys, was there like some kid in the community who was like really cool at a bike or something like that got you started, or were you just like into mechanics? How'd you get going with this stuff?
Well, no, I had the people I hung around with. I hung around with 2-3 different guys that were my same age and everything. And we just came up on our own. We figured it out all on our own. We have mini bikes. You know, we had the same mini bikes like you said, Rob, and one of my friends had a Honda Mini Trail, and then we just worked our way up to 80s and 90s and 100s. And we just came up through the ranks on our own. We didn't have any, I never had any mentors for any of that. Figure everything
how'd you
out
get the
our own.
antique bug, Doug? The antique bug, how'd that bite you?
That came later. Because I couldn't really afford, or I didn't think I could afford the American stuff, and I wasn't. Once I got onto the antique stuff, I really just flopped from one right to the other. Like right now, I have no desire to even ride a new bike at all. It's just not something I need to do. But for some reason, I just found out how cool they were built. It's like old bikes are very what I call literal. You know, what you see is what you get, and it's easy to understand, and in the quality of the building is there, and is like pre-plastic and, all of that. Stuff bikes that don't have plastic, that's a good thing.
I was like you. I built my first go-kart out of wood.
Yes, exactly.
And I had and then I had a Maytag washing machine engine in it. Then later on, I put a bigger gasoline, a different motor, and a Crosley transmission. And then when I was 14, I bugged my parents and said, "Can I buy my neighbor's Model A?" And they said, "Yeah, but you can't drive it home. You got to push it." So it wasn't a neighbor; it was several blocks away. So I got my high school buddies, junior high buddies at the time, and we pushed it all the blocks back to our house. So I think just like you, we just started doing stuff. So I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah. So I wanted to mention this, and I kind of forgot about it. But so on the Cannonball, I like to say there's two people on the Cannonball. There's people, and then there's people that have people. And we all know who's who, but like Dan, you guys, I don't know if you know this about Dan, but he started a body shop in 1964. 62, and it's still going. Yeah. And he's not going because he got fired, but Todd runs it. And we do everything. We machine our own parts. We build, for the most part, our motors. We do our own everything. And I have to tell you, one of the things that's so awesome on the Cannonball is there's a lot of people in the Cannonball that are at the top of their game mechanically. There's some of these guys on the Cannonball, I just look at what they do, and makes me feel so inadequate. And I think I'm pretty far up the food chain, but there's a lot of people that are all the way up the food chain on the Cannonball, wouldn't you say?
The ones that can solve problems so fast. I can solve problems, but I got to think about it. And these people just boom, they'll go right to the source of it, and it is very impressive.
And their fabrication skills. I'm impressed with how good some of these people can build and do stuff. So the Cannonball is special in that aspect for me.
Yeah, I'll tell you something about the Cannonball that I was thinking about this, and you didn't ask this question directly, but with all the stops and the exposures and the lunches and the dinners, there is thousands of people that come to see these bikes. And there's a lot of people in the parking lots and that come to the hotel parking lots, and they're not beautiful people. They're not special, and they're intimidated by this. And when you go out of your way to make those people feel welcome and part of the event, and let them come sit on the motorcycles, take their camera, take their pictures, those experiences, I'm thinking of several of them right now. I probably shouldn't give you the details of them, but they would come up to me afterwards and say, "You will never know how much this meant to me, to let us sit on there and take those pictures of us." And we heard that over and over and over again.
Amen.
Mike said, "We're making a mistake by not getting pictures of that," because he says that in itself is worth an album. And he said, "You guys should have chronicled all that stuff." But it's in our heads, and the experience and what you hear back from these people fascinates. It is fascinating. Does that make sense?
Well,
Absolutely.
that makes a lot of sense. And on that note, I want to thank you guys for coming on with us tonight, and hope you'll come back and share some more stories with us and tell us when you're farther along with whatever you're doing, Doug, and maybe you can fire that bike up for us next time you come on.
Let's see. I'll have it running September
2 days before
10th,
he leaves.
maybe the 10th.
Yeah.
Hey,
We'll send it. Yeah,
Rob,
we'll send a mobile unit out.
I have a question real quick for Doug. Since I heard you talking, and a little bit of your accent would creep out here and there, but you're talking about my wife's home stomping ground. She was from Pepperell, Massachusetts, right on the border, New Hampshire.
Pepperell.
And you're talking about ice cream, and she took me to one of the most legendary ice cream joints right near that border area. It was called Doc Davis. You ever been to Doc Davis ice cream?
No, but we used to
I used to race Pepperell.
We used to run at the motocross at Pepperell.
Yeah, her
me
her
too.
brothers and
But,
sisters used to work at track.
Yeah, I actually grew up in central New Hampshire on Squam Lake and Winnipesaukee.
Oh, right on.
Laconia, Weirs Beach. That's where I grew up.
Yeah, she lived there for probably over 10 years. She lived on the lake.
So
Hey, Chris Simmons just said that for the girls who come up or the women who come up, it's especially gratifying for them when they get to talk to her about her experience on the Cannonball. And I think we may have even picked up some riders from that.
Yeah, well, it is. We have a strong female ridership on the Cannonball. And I'm just going to lay it out here right now. Jody Perowitz is going to win this Cannonball. I'm just going to, there it is. You heard it from me first.
Oh, boy. The gloves on the ground.
He laid down the gauntlet.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's over. Well, all right.
Thanks, guys.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Yes, sir. What a good crew, huh?
Yeah, so that's good. So I just want to remind everybody who's tuning in. It sounds like we may have lost Jason. So everybody who's tuning in, there's a place you can go to get Cannonball gear. Help support the Cannonball. It's not just the riders who support this, but it's the merchandise and some other things. And Chris is putting that up on screen now. So if you go to motorcyclecannonball.com or Cannonball, I think motorcyclecannonball.com, you can find some of the great items you can buy to hang in your shop, in your man cave, or your wherever it is you want to hang that stuff. So that'd be pretty cool. Help support the Cannonball and buy some great gear in the process.
Well,
it looks.
You know what? Like, I'm sorry, man, just to bust in again for a second, but one of the reasons it's important to support an event like this is the fact of just what they were mentioning a minute ago. You know, whether it's an old bike, a chopper, a new bike, getting people around motorcycles and taking away that, you know, that border that goes between the us and them is a good thing, because that's gonna see this thing into the future, man. You know, so what these people are doing with Motorcycle Cannonball is extraordinary. So any support that you can give, if it's buying that $20 poster, man, go help them out.
And the last thing I want to say is I want to say thank you for all of you who have tuned in. Please share the program. If you enjoyed it, share the program with your friends. There's a like and share buttons on your screen. You can hit those, and you can find us on YouTube, and you can sit in your living room on your smart TV, go to YouTube and type in Motorcycle Cannonballs on Wednesday nights. And don't forget to tune into the other shows here from Source Media: Grease and Gears Garage, Cyber Swap Sunday mornings, Shop Talk Sunday evenings. We got a great lineup. We're going to be bringing you some more shows, hopefully. So tell all your friends, share the program, and we hope to see you next time. So hang in there.